I have played through every canon single-player Fallout game with the exception of the first one. I know the story of the first Fallout, but I have not experienced the game itself. So on this video, I'll force myself to play this game. Just in case you're not familiar with the old Fallout games, they are very different compared to the modern Bethesda's Fallout. The first two Fallout games are a turn-based open-world isometric RPG. For those of you that wanted to try it out, honestly, you are in for a painful ride. I mean, the tutorial is in a PDF manual, good luck. Knowing how difficult the game can be, with my prior experience and knowledge that I have with Fallout 2, I made this character. It's basically a character that is specifically made for combat. Knowing how overpowered energy weapons can be in Fallout 2, I decided to gamble and chose that skill. Anyway, the plot of Fallout 1. Vote lucky number 13 is out of clean water, so search the nuclear wasteland outside for a water chip. Good luck, try to get much further than the first one we sent earlier. This is the tutorial area, and the lesson here is to not waste your time and resources. This is a lesson that the game will gladly teach again when you arrive in the next location. I learned this when I played Fallout 2. The second game has a similar tutorial with the same lesson where the game will place you in a situation with some weak enemies that would be way too tedious to clear out. Same lesson, do not waste your time and resource, and also make a lot of save files. The first location that the game shows you is Vault 15, just as the overseer said in the intro. When I tried to head there, I encountered a village called Shady Sands, soon to be called the NCR. I talked to some of the residents of the village, and as expected, none of them have the solution to my problem, and have problems of their own. I talked to Aradas, the leader of the village, and Tundi, soon to be president of the NCR. Back to the village's problem, they currently have a problem with some rat scorpions and they need someone, i.e. you, to clear them out. This is the other tutorial that I mentioned earlier about not wasting your time and resources. The earlier Fallout's method of teaching is letting the kid touch the boiling water. By all means, you can help the village and clear out the rat scorpions. Doing this will reward you with some experience points, a lesson about combat in a dark area, and also a free cure for rat scorpion poisoning, but that's it. You don't get a lead to the main quest and a compensation for your effort. Even with my experience with Fallout 2 being the idiot that I am, I wasted half an hour to clear out the cave. At least I'm a friend to the village now. After getting played like a fiddle, I continue onward to Vault 15, only to find out that I need a rope to get down to the vault. I went back to Shady Sands, and as far as I'm concerned, no one saw a rope there. So I went to a place called Junktown, the location of which would be revealed if you ask the residents of Shady Sands about some town nearby. This place is much more interesting than Shady Sands. I asked the guards for some places to visit in the town, one of which is the general store. Because I need a rope, I went there first and met Killian. Sadly, he did not sell the rope. And after the barter, out of nowhere, Killian got jumped by a random dude. During the combat, I accidentally shot one of Killian's guards. I'm pretty sure I have a pretty high luck. Thankfully, after the encounter, they didn't go hostile towards me. I guess that's the high luck doing its work. After the assassination attempt, Killian asked me to talk to a guy named Gizmo. Gizmo is Killian's #1 suspect on the assassination attempt, so he asked me to bug the conversation and hopefully he would confess. And Gizmo actually did confess, pretty easily too. He basically wanted Killian out of the picture so his business can thrive even more. You can kindly ask Gizmo to confess to you.
You're either real stupid or a real stupid spy.
After giving the evidence to Killian, he wasted no time and asked me to kill Gizmo together. Just like that, I probably just saved the town and my vote is still dying. After getting distracted once again, I went to another town called The Hub. I went to the general store and finally found a store that actually sell it. Before I went to Vault 15, I went to Shady Sands with the intention of placing a save file there, but all of a sudden, It turns out that Tandy got kidnapped by some raiders. If you've played Fallout 2 and New Vegas, you know that the raiders are actually the great cons, so I was pretty excited that I got to experience that history myself. There are many ways to save Tandy, but I just bowed myself out of there. Anyway, after getting distracted once again, I finally went down to Vault 15 and got rewarded with a dead end. At least I got a leather armor. At this point forward, I was completely lost. I have no idea where to go next, and I'm pretty sure that, I shouldn't wander aimlessly or else I would reach the vault's water chip deadline. But being the idiot that I am, I blindly went to Necropolis and not even exploring it thoroughly. Then I went back to the hub, wasting even much more time on the travel. In the hub, I met a guy called Butch. He wanted me to figure out why some of his caravans disappeared. After playing through the whole game, this quest is actually pivotal for the second part of the game, but when I first played it, I was clueless of its importance and just did it because Butch has his own talking head, so it might be important. Unfortunately, this is the game's introduction to the Deathclaw. I only have a pistol and a double-barrel shotgun, so no. Aside from that, the hub did give me a lot of hints for the other location of the water chip, which is located in Vault 12, which is located in Necropolis if I explore it more thoroughly. It also provides the option to extend the vault's dying deadline by purchasing water from the water merchants. So at the very least, I am somewhat in control of the situation. Because I wasn't ready to face a Deathclaw, I went to check on the Brotherhood. I asked one of the guards if I can join them and told me to ask Cabot for that. Another talking head, so it must be important. To join the Brotherhood, Cabot told me to retrieve an item from the glow that will indicate that I went there. This is a death mission to get rid of outsiders that is gullible enough to do it, just like me. I went to that place and retrieved the item not knowing how radiation works in the earlier Fallout game. Anyway, this is what will happen if you got radiation poisoning in this game.
Your bones are scraped clean.
Okay, so here's a quick summary of the situation. Progressing Butch's quest will kill me and progressing the Brotherhood's quest will kill me. Time to thoroughly explore Necropolis. I met a group of friendly ghouls underneath Necropolis and they basically gave a confirmation that the water chip is in this area. The problem is, taking away the water chip will jeopardize the survival of the entire town. So they asked me to at least repair the water pump, which was guarded by these abominations. I can't ignore their request and just steal the water chip immediately, but I do believe that a pistol and a double-barrel shotgun are not enough to commit genocide. The water pump and the entrance to Vault 12 are guarded by these super mutants. I spoke to Harry, another talking head. If you ask him to go see Lou, Harry will kindly take you to the military base. I took this chance to ask some information about the super mutants and the master. At this point on, I was pretty much screwed, so I wrote to the latest save file before I got taken to the military base. Before I continue, just a little info of how speech works in this game and also Fallout 2. It's a dice roll, so the higher your speech skill, the higher the chances of you succeeding it. However, the player can abuse the dice roll by simply reloading over and over until the speech works. At the time I didn't want to abuse it yet, so I tried to force myself in, which obviously didn't work. The other peaceful way of getting to the water pump was by contacting this ghoul called Seth, but it didn't cross my mind to even attempt to talk to him. I was really stupid. After much consideration, I decided to do the Deathclaw quest. I talked to Harold and also this person outside of his place to get across to the Deathclaw. Before I went there, I bought a laser pistol. This weapon is not strong enough to beat a Deathclaw, but with the power of reloading like a scum, I killed the Deathclaw. This took an hour, by the way. Now I have to fight two of them at the same time. After killing the Deathclaw in the hub, I was pretty much conflicted on what I want to do next. When I visited the boneyard, it was pretty much filled with quests to prepare for the super mutant phase of the game. I continued exploring and talking to all sorts of people in the boneyard and also the hub. The consequences of me wasting too much time led to the destruction of Necropolis. You see, there are actually two timers in this game. A timer for the Vault's water chip and the other one is a hidden timer for the super mutant invasion. Progressing in this game too slowly would lead to the death of all the ghouls in Necropolis. Thankfully, I could still repair the water pump to get some free experience and also retrieve the water chip from the vault. Afterwards, I went to Vault 13 ASAP.
Ha! It's working, and it looks like we have a winner!
The next phase of the game is figuring out how to deal with the Master and the Super Mutants. Anyway, because of my blind exploration that would be wiser if I did it after discovering the water chip, I already figured out what to do next, and it is to gear up. So the first thing I did was dealing with the Brotherhood's first mission in the Glow. Back in the hub, I bought some Red X from a merchant, then I used it just before I entered the Glow's perimeter, went down inside the crater, retrieved the Brotherhood's disc, then finally I got accepted by the Brotherhood. You know, a lot of people felt bad for what happened to the Brotherhood in Fallout 2 and New Vegas. I don't. These assholes deserve it. There are 3 important checklists inside the Brotherhood. The first is talking to Elder Maxon about the super mutants. The second is to Master Scribe 3 about the flaws of the super mutants. And most importantly, getting a power armor. Talking with Maxon would eventually reward the player with some support to destroy the military base, but I didn't realize that it was possible to do that. Talking to 3 would eventually reward you with a special dialogue with the Master later on. For the power armor, I actually got it by accident by helping a Brotherhood member that was kidnapped by a gang in the hub. I didn't even know that the guy was there. I attacked them because they went hostile towards me. So after I finally acquired the armor from the title screen, the first thing I did was slaughtering the Deathclaws in the boneyard. I bought a plasma caster from the gunrunners and slaughtered these bastards. My gamble at the start of the game actually worked out really well. Underneath the Deathclaw building, I found a Deathclaw nest that was guarded by its mother. It was actually really tough, but look at that. Stairs. After destroying the Deathclaw nest, I went to the gunrunners for my reward. I chose the very selfish option of getting all of the weapons for myself. I think this is still the better option, to be honest, because my character is strong enough to slaughter all the child killer gang in the boneyard. Doing this rewarded me with a lot of stimpaks and apparently the freedom of the resident of a detune. Speaking of a detune, this was the location where I got the upgrade for my power armor and plasma caster. And to top it all off, I became even more powerful when I obtained the bonus rate of fire perk, which reduced the amount of action points of my weapon. Right after the upgrade, I went to the super mutant military base. I already know this location because I've already played Fallout 2. Thanks to all of that upgrade, I steamrolled through everything. Combat difficulty was no longer a problem. However, getting lost was still a problem. In the military base, there were these yellow barriers that you were supposed to open by using the repair skill. I have no idea that I could do that. So I just left the military base and went after the master. At this point on in the game, I barely leveled up my speech skill and I didn't want to do a murder spree in the Master Cathedral, so I went on a murder spree in the hub instead. My goal here was to obtain that purple rope to disguise myself as one of the members of the Cathedral. I thought I need to kill the lady to obtain it, but it turns out that there was a spare rope in her storage. As expected, the disguise worked, but sadly, wearing the rope did not allow me to get access to every floor of the Cathedral. The access was still basically locked behind a speech dialogue from this guy, so as I speech will scum my way to the access, let me explain what the general baseline on what I need to do in the Cathedral. I need to get access to a guy called Morpheus, which is located in the top floor, but this guy called Lasher was blocking the access and he had the key for it. So what made Morpheus so important? Well, the dialogue from the other NPCs made me draw the conclusion that this guy might be important, and boy was I correct. He was my ticket to confront the Master. The Master's goal, as shown by his underlings, was to create a perfect utopia filled with a single race of mutants that shared the mind and goal as he is, hence the name Unity. But this plan of his is very flawed. The data shown by Master Scribe Ree reveal that the mutants are fertile. They are very powerful and can live for a very long time for sure, but they're not immortal. Within a generation, they'll die. With the beauty of Fallout, you can have a peaceful dialogue to point this out. Then you can watch as he falls into despair, realizing that his life and goal is pointless.
Don't think that I can
Continue.
to have done the things I have done in the name of progress and healing. It was madness. I can see that now. Madness.
Madness?
There is no hope. Leave now. Leave while you still have.
I just shot him in the head though.
You saved us, but you'll kill us. I'm sorry. You're a hero, and you have to leave.